So in my last video I talked about how I improved the grass in TerraBrush. Now that this is done, I think it's time to talk about the trees. The easiest way to paint trees is to take your scene and drag it into the object definition, update the terrain and select the appropriate tool and you're good to go.
Bye, have a great time.
Alright, I'm kidding. Obviously we can do more, we can continue to paint the forest here. But let's have a look at what's happening when you add more trees. Quickly we can see that the more trees you add, the less frame you have. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad way of doing the trees here, but it's not suitable for what I want to do, a huge forest. At this rate, I'm already below 60 FPS. It probably won't take long before my computer starts a fire. To be honest, I can't blame it. The way it works is that one instance of this tree is placed everywhere on the map, so obviously that takes a lot of resources. For some use case, that's perfect because I create the exact same tree we have here and I add it to the terrain. So let's say you have a script on this tree. Well, the script will also be created. This is good for something that is interactable or have some behavior in the game. The problem we have right now is the amount of trees we're creating. So what can we do? Well, I created a new strategy to place the trees, and this is the oak tree multi-meshes. Right at the start, we can see that it looks a little bit different, but look at the frames we have here. It's way different. We have a lot of frames available, and we can paint everywhere on the terrain. We have way more frames than before and we are really far from hitting that 60 FPS mark. Okay, but how does it work? Well, remember the tree we had before? I took the same one and I created 4 versions of it. Obviously the first one is the original one. The second one has less vertices. The next one has even less vertices. Okay, it doesn't look that good, but this is mostly for the sake of the demonstration here. And well, the last one is just an image on a quad mesh. Billboarded, of course. So let's see how we can use these with the terrain. The first thing to do is to set up the LOD list in the terrain. Basically, this defines when to display which mesh. For example, here, the first version of the tree, the most detailed one, will be displayed on the first 10 meters. The second version of the tree will be displayed on the first 50 meters. For the next one, it's going to be displayed on the first 200 meters. And the last one on the first 1000 meters. Cool, so the last thing to do is to set up each mesh for each LOD level. In the example here, I created 4 LOD levels, so I should set 4 meshes. So just like that, we have a huge terrain with a lot of trees. Obviously, the performance you're gonna get will depend on what you configure on your terrain. If you use a mesh with more details, more vertices, or of course the LOD list you're gonna configure. This demo was a quick example of what you can do. It was only created using the decimate function of Blender. Much better meshes could be used here to create even better results. Anyways, that's all I had to show for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and we're gonna see each other on the next one.